purpose of this video is to share with you some aspects of the setup of my hammock and tarp. This spring I purchased some good high quality equipment, and over the course of some hikes this spring and summer I've refined some aspects of the hardware and techniques I use to set up camp, and I think it's working pretty good now. So I'd like to share some of that with you, and let's take a look at what we got. So let's start with the hammock, because there's considerably less to say about it. This is a Dream Hammock roaming gnome, which comes with this integrated bug net, full link zippers on both sides. If you wanted to get the bug net completely out of the way, you can stuff it into this peak bag that's at the foot end. The fabric is 1.1 ounce ripstop nylon. The color is greenish brown or brownish green, I don't remember. It's a single layer. Some people are afraid of 1.1 ounce fabric, saying it's too light, subject to failure. I haven't seen any problems. Started no signs of wear or anything. The Dream Hammock website recommends this fabric for people weighing up to 200 pounds, and I weigh considerably less than that. So far so good. I haven't and wouldn't make alterations to the hammock itself, so my only tinkering is with the suspension system, so we can go take a look at that. So Dream Hammocks will ship their hammocks with a whoopee sling suspension, but not with a whoopee hook suspension, which is what I wanted. That's one of Dutch's whoopee hooks there. So first thing, I ordered a pair of whoopee hooks from Dutch. He will let you order different colors for head and foot ends, so I did that, and red is for head. I also got matching continuous loops. So, and this has been working quite well. The only problem I had with it is that the whoopee slings that Dutch sells, or at least the pair he shipped to me, had a fixed eye that was a little too small to slip easily over the Dutch buckle, which is a little strange, but that's the way it was. So after struggling with that for a few trips, I ordered myself some am steel, and I made my own whoopee sling with a slightly bigger fixed eye. This is about a 6-inch eye here, and that slips over the Dutch buckle much more easily. So, and I still did obviously put the whoopee hook in my whoopee sling. So I'm liking the Dutch buckle, so that's remained part of the system from the beginning. Initially I was using Dutch clips as well, but well, I found that it's just as easy to pass the buckle through the eye on the end of a tree hugger strap, so they won't really adding much in the way of functionality, and they kind of made the strap more difficult to roll up for storage in the pack, so I stopped using them. The tree straps, this is which one is this? This is the 10-foot. So I've got a 10-foot and a 6-foot. I did find on one trip the 6-foot strap wasn't long enough to go around some of the trees I was finding to hang from. So now I've got one of each, and haven't needed the 10-foot again, of course. So I think that's pretty much all there is to say about the hammock suspension. On to the tarp. This is a Hammock gear, Cuban fiber, standard size tarp with doors. And it comes with, well, actually it doesn't come with anything except a stuff sack, which I don't actually use. So everything is pretty much custom after that. Let's start with the ridgeline. So what we've got here is a continuous ridgeline in a configuration, I believe, first documented by Derek Hansen, author of The Ultimate Hang. He's got a video on that, and I'll put up a link to that in the comments on the YouTube page for this video, so you can go see that for more detailed explanation. But it starts with a Dutch hook here spliced into the end of about 30 feet of zinget, and that attaches to a little continuous loop of zinget here that itself attaches to the end of the tarp. And that goes out and around this tree and then comes back and runs under the tarp. Comes back through the D-ring here, runs under the tarp. You could also rig it to go over the tarp. Some people are worried about this causing wear, but I haven't seen any evidence of that. We've been watching. So, runs under the tarp and down, and then goes around this tree and comes back, and then ties into the stingers that's hooked into this end of the tarp. So, and that allows you to, if you rig it loosely, you can slide it back and forth easily to get it centered over the hammock, and then you can crank it down and tighten it up as hard as you can pull. So I really like the flexibility and the ease of setup of this. So you perhaps also noticed I've got these tarp sleeves or snake skins for wrapping the hammock up in. And again, I really like the convenience factor. I was concerned that this mesh material would be delicate, but I haven't found that to be the case. So I think this is a good addition to the overall system. You may have also noticed here under the tarp, as we zoomed through before, that I've got this gear hammock in here. And I find this a really convenient place to stash stuff, to keep it out of the way, but then also have it easily accessible. So I initially, I found this online in some nautical supply company, and I can't tell you the name of it, unfortunately. But initially I was thinking that I would substitute Jacks Are Better as a combination gear hammock and pack cover. And dual use is great, but I've really decided I like the fact that I can see through here. So I think I'm going to stick with this. Initially, I tried to rig this with prusik knots on the ridgeline, but I found even with 5 wraps on the prusiks, I couldn't get them to hold well on the zinget. So I've gone to this alternate system where basically I've got the end loops of the hammock pass through the ridgeline and then are pulled out towards the ends using these additional bits of string. There's one on each end, and they tie into again the end of the ridgeline. So that's what keeps it in place. So that's pretty much it for features of the ridgeline. Out here at the corners of the tarp, I've got some more zinget. There's about 6 feet at each corner. There's an eye splice in the end that goes to the stake, and a back splice at the other end, and that runs through line locks. Now initially I used Kelty trip tees for this with prusiks here. The trip tees will hold knots, and prusiks work much better. It's not as slippery. But I substituted the line locks because they're easier to work than the prusiks were. The prusiks were basically always a two-handed operation to work them in, whereas the line lock can be worked quite easily with one hand either direction. So I'm really liking this improvement. This is a line lock 3, which Dutch charges 28 cents a piece for. So it's not an expensive solution. So initially, when I was playing around with these, I thought it might be nice if Adam at Hammock here, would sew these directly into the corners of the tarp. But later it occurred to me that if he did that, there'd be no place to put the end of your hiking pole for porch mode. So it's just as well he doesn't. So this is a little continuous loop. Well, let's get the pole out of the way, make it a little easier to see. A continuous loop, again, of Zing It, and it's lark's headed twice. Well, there's a double lark's head here, just because I think it looked better, and a single lark's head there. You need about a 6-inch continuous loop to have enough line to tie that up. So I was busy making continuous loops for a while. So I've got the same thing going on here for the door corners. I've got, in this case, 4 feet of Zing It, and again, the line lock 3s. When I'm not using the doors, I just keep them clipped to each other. There's mitten hooks at this end, at the end of each, so they can just be clipped to each other, and that'll keep the doors out of the way. For the panel pullouts, I've got this thing I call a bridle. This is made of the trip tees because if I use it, there's knots involved, and the trip tees again will hold knots better. But the theory here is that by having this little bit of string, I can pull out both side panel pulls with one line. And the one time I've used it, I think it's been more than once. That theory has worked. I carry extra bits of line, of course, in 6 and 12 foot lengths in my ditty bag in case any lines need to be lengthened or for the panel pull. So I think the only thing left to cover is tent stakes, and what I use is the ever popular MSR groundhog stakes. I found them to be plenty strong and hold well. I think in particular the shape allows them to hold better than, say, just a round shepherd's hook stake. So the only complaint I guess I have about these is when you pull them out of the ground, most of the time there'll be dirt stuck to them. So you got to spend a couple of seconds to clean them off, because you don't want to be carrying dirt up the next mountain. Well, that's it then. That's how I set up my hammock and tarp. Time to pack it up. So that's it. The tarp will go into the large outside pocket of my Gossamer Gear Mariposa. It fits well there. Stakes and tree straps also go in that pocket. The hammock goes inside the trash compactor bag inside my pack, along with clothes and quilts, to keep them all dry in the harshest of conditions, so far anyway. So that's that. Thanks for watching. See you on the trail.